The Odell Beckham Jr. rumors to the New York Giants are officially heating up with free agency just around the corner. So before we start today's show, I want to ask all the real ones out there. Do you want the Giants to sign OBJ? Type OBJ for yes, you'd love him back in Big Blue, or type no BJ for no, you're out on Beckham. Are the New York Football Giants interested in signing Odell Beckham Jr.? We're going to break that down on today's show. I'm your host, Marshall Green. You're watching Giants Now by Chat Sports. Reports are coming out from ESPN that OBJ is holding a workout for NFL teams, and the New York Giants are expected to be there. He's going to hold a workout in Arizona on Friday. Jordan Renan of ESPN broke the news. He said OBJ will be holding a workout for NFL teams on Friday in Arizona, a chance for him to show the league where he's at physically after missing all of this last season with a torn ACL. The Giants are among the teams expected to attend. And we've been down this road before. The Giants were interested and had a meeting with OBJ back at the tail end of this past season. He didn't end up signing with the team. Maybe he wasn't 100% healthy. But now that it's been 13 months since he tore that ACL in the Super Bowl in 2022, he's probably healthy. And that makes him the top wide receiver in this free agency class. If healthy, if available, he is number one in this class. To be quite frank with you, this is not a good wide receiver class. I mean, when you look at the top 10 guys, none of these guys are anyone that I'm just rushing to go out and get. You got guys like OBJ, Juju Smith-Schuster, Jakobi Meyers. Michael Thomas is expected to be bought out by the Saints, but it hasn't even happened yet. Adam Thielen, another name that could get cut by the Minnesota Vikings. Then you got guys like DJ Chark, Mecole Hardman, Allen Lazard, Paris Campbell, Julio Jones, Jarvis Landry. I also like Marvin Jones as a potential guy the Giants could look at in free agency, the vet from the Jacksonville Jaguars. I mean, all in all, this wide receiver class, to be quite frank, is cheeks. It sucks. It's not good. It's not a good time for the Giants to have some available dollars in cap space in needing a wide receiver, which makes me believe that the Giants are going to look more towards the NFL draft to go and find a receiver. And I believe they could draft multiple receivers with some of their premium picks now that they have 11 picks in the 2023 NFL draft. But if OBJ is healthy, he could be the best one out there. And since he has some ties to the Giants and the Giants were interested and they're attending the workout, we're going to have to talk about him. And he played pretty damn good for the Los Angeles Rams back in that 2021-2022 season. When you include the playoff games that he played, and he played in 12 total games, had 48 receptions for almost 600 yards, over 12.3 yards per pop, and had 7 touchdowns, and showed that he was one of the best wide receivers in the red zone. He had so many red zone looks and touchdowns with LA. Still a big play guy, over 12.3 yards per catch. He creates separation, and he's a generator with the football in his hands. 2 things that the Giants absolutely look for in their wide receivers. And when you look at this Giants wide receiver depth chart, you're going to look and say, there's just really not that many bodies left. Darius Slayton is a free agent. Pat Leonard just reported that he thinks Slayton may want too much money to return to Big Blue. Richie James is a free agent. Sterling Shepard is a free agent. Marcus Johnson is a free agent. You got Isaiah Hodgins, you got Wan'Dale Robinson coming off a torn ACL, and you got Colin Johnson coming off a popped Achilles. So you're definitely going to have to get some more bodies in here, and you're definitely going to have to get some more talent. Is it OBJ? I don't know. If he's healthy, sure, but I'm not willing to pay him multiple years and a lot of guaranteed money. A guy that's really had a lot of injuries, torn his ACL a couple of times, had that broken ankle with the New York Giants. Joe Schoen always says he wants smart, tough, and dependable. Does OBJ fit in those 3 buckets? I'll leave that up for you guys to decide. I like OBJ, one of my favorite Giants of all time. I just wonder if the fit makes a lot of sense right now. Giants need a receiver. He's talented. Might be the most talented. Maybe. I'll ask you, though. Is it OBJ? Is it someone else? I'm going to break down 3 guys I think the Giants should at least look at in free agency at the receiver spot. But first, name a wide receiver you want the Giants to sign. Sound off for me down in the comments section. An alert, Giants fans, Giants real ones all of the subs out there. Tell a friend to tell a friend, because we are so close to 25,000 subs here on the channel. We're exactly 100 away. I want to get there on today's video, a quarter of a way to 100,000 subs. 25K is a big benchmark, and I want to get there, and I want you right there to be a part of this journey. Giants videos every day. We're going to be live for NFL free agency. We'll be live for the NFL draft, and we do watch parties for every single game. Sub for Giants dubs. Help us get to 25K. When I talk about my top free agent wide receiver targets, I'm not talking about the best in the class. I'm talking about guys that I think the Giants could look at that fit their price point and fit what the Giants want to do on the offensive side of the ball. And my number one guy is Paris Campbell, a guy that's playing with the Indianapolis Colts the past couple of seasons. In 17 games last year, number one, that checks one box. He's available and he's durable, played in every game. He had 63 receptions for 623 yards, 9.9 yards per catch, and 3 touchdowns. I like how Campbell can line up all over the football field. He could play in the slot, he could play outside, and he's an extremely athletic wide receiver. Maybe a little bit undersized, but he has the speed to not only stretch the field vertically, but also horizontally, and he's a good route runner to where he can create separation. He could be that 3rd and short guy. 2nd and 12, go get you 8 over the middle. I'm a fan of him. I think he's someone the Giants could look at. He fits what they want, fast and create separation. That is exactly what Paris Campbell does. And I think in a better offense and a better QB than what they've had in Indy the past couple of years, I think he could be a really, really good wide receiver 2 or wide receiver 3. I'm not looking to spend big money at the wide receiver spot, which is why Mecole Hardman is my second wide receiver free agent target. And this is because, one, he's extremely fast, he's a playmaker, and he has reps in the Mike Kafka offense, and there's some familiarity there. Joe Schoen, if you listen, tells you that he likes to sign guys that he has a relationship with, or at least some of the coordinators do, and that's what Kafka and Hardman do have. Spent some time in Kansas City together. Didn't play all that much this year, just 8 games, but if you look at what he did the prior 3 years, he only missed 0 games, actually. 0 games in the past 3 years. And he's someone that is an explosive player. In 2019, he averaged 20 yards per catch, then 13.7, then 11.7. You can line him up all over. You could bring him in motion. He could be a little bit of eye candy, but he could also stretch the field vertically and take any pass he catches to the house. I like Hardman, and I like him at the price point that I think he's going to go for in NFL free agency. If you did want to pay one of the top guys, I would elect it to be Jakobi Meyers. I like Meyers. I don't love Meyers, but I do like him. And how could you not? When you look at what he's done the past 3 years in the NFL, all he's really done is produce. I mean, in 14 games this year, he had 67 receptions for just over 800 yards and 6 touchdowns. 2021, he had 83 grabs for almost 900 yards. But he is a guy that's not really an explosive wide receiver, but he can play all over the field. He's a good route runner, not an elite speed guy, ran a 4.6 40, but he's a separator, and that's because he's a tactician when it comes to being able to run routes. He's got the whole tree available in his arsenal, and I like him. I don't love him, and for that reason, he may be too expensive for the New York Football Giants. I think if you polled all 32 GMs, half of them would say he's the number one free agent in wide receiver, or number one wide receiver in free agency. And in a down class, when you have a guy that's almost unanimously known as the top guy, that means there's going to be a lot of suitors, and he might be too expensive for what I'm willing to pay. Reports came out he might sign a deal worth $15 million annually, and that might be a little bit too much for me. I like him. I don't love him. If I can get him 3 years, $40 million, I'd feel a lot more confident, but I think that might be a little bit under what he's expecting. So we've broken down receivers. We talked about OBJ. We showed you 10 guys, and then we showed you 3 more guys. It's not a good class. The draft, on the other hand, there are some good receivers, and the Giants have 4 picks in the top 125 selections. So I want to ask you, how should the Giants fix their wide receiver core? Is it free agency? Is it the draft? Is it a little bit of both? That's what I would do. I think you draft maybe 2 guys with your first 6 picks and then go sign maybe a tier 2 or tier 3 wide receiver. Bring back Sterling Shepard. Hopefully he can stay healthy, and that's what I would do. Let me know, though. How should they fix it? Type F for free agency, D for draft, sound off. Maybe even a trade. I'd be down for that. Appreciate everybody for tuning in to today's show. Hope you have a good Friday. The weekend is around the corner. We'll have another video on Saturday and Sunday for the real ones. So subscribe, help us get to 25K, and let's go Big Blue.